Alright, welcome back again, guys, to Red Blur Gaming. We are again off the reservation, I will say. Getting stuff done, stuff that was already on the block that I hadn't quite got around to. Some stuff that I think will make a few interesting additions. So, I probably couldn't see it, but that is a homing beacon that I was just touching up, which obviously is going to make things very interesting. I have some other crisis suits currently right in front of me, and I think what I'm going to do is go ham with this, which again, let's get in and just start painting feet and ankles so that we can, which is going to be a pain in the arse to a degree, we'll get some of this done so it's a little easier on myself, and we'll work our way around quickly on getting this stuff done so that's nice and sharp and short. No messing about. I'm going to be a little bit more rushed on these ones. Well, I wouldn't say rushed. I would say I'm a little bit less concerned about how I go getting paint on these models, because I've been overly delicate and I feel like it may have cost me a little bit of time in terms of, and that's the thing, like here you can see I'm being slightly delicate while also, doing my best to apply paint to the model, because I don't really want to get too much black in places where it doesn't need to be. And also I think it's going to be a little bit hard to get with these models, because I did actually, these were the ones that I got second hand, which I have changed up the weapons on them, so they have, at the moment I'm running them WYSIWYG, so what you see is what you get, which means they are correctly painted, outfitted. When you look on if I was on my WARHAMMER app running my through my list, you would get told that there is a flamer and a burst cannon on each and every one, because that is what I'm running. But as some places are a little more liberal with what you have to do, I won't stress as much, and I'm most likely going to run these as dual flamers, and in the next test game, and see how they go in terms of whether or not the dual flamer is more efficient in terms of how well it performs. Given that the prototype cartridge ray has the extended range buff, so I'm not requiring to be within 12. When I shoot, I can be a little bit further away, meaning that I have a little, obviously with flamers, and again tail flamers, which are not that weak and not that strong. They're kind of mid-range, but again, movable flamers with good amount of AP, not having to roll to hit. It's just a roll to see how many dice you're seeing to rolling with to see how many wounds you do, which is a little bit better. Is a bit more of a positive thing. I'm definitely less concerned with how well that is going to go, given the fact that I can get the re-roll wounds if they are guided by re-roll wound rolls of 1 if they're guided by a crisis suit team, which is the aim for these guys to be all of my crisis suits to be. Sorry, it's not crisis suit team, it's stealth suit team. When they're guided by a stealth suit team, they get plus the ability to re-roll failed wound rolls of 1. But I need more fire knife crisis suit teams because I've only play tested with ones that I borrowed off one of the gentlemen at the friendly local game store who also runs Tau, and I must say, oops, touched his head. Good job, me. Fire knife is the way to go for bloody Tau. Oh, even in the prototype cadre, with that extra range, there's a couple of specialty designed enhancements for a commander to lead them. They go well with Farsight, being that they're the same broadside profile, shooting profile that he is, a broadside crisis suit shooting profile that he is, which means that, sorry, I just got to get in the back there, which means that I'm not really having to search for what they do because, you already know that they AP, unless they're not overcharging, they are AP 3, S8, Strength 8, AP 3, 2 shots without overcharging. But fire knives get to re-roll everything, wounds and hits, and therefore that ability to then. There is a very, very good stratagem which can give you sustained hits. So you take that on your fire knife because it's a broadside only. Obviously running Farsight means as the commander means that on a once per round he can do a stratagem for free. So you use the stratagem which gives them sustained hits 1. And in terms of what people call it when playing competitive Warhammer, you go what we call fishing for sixes. So fishing for your critical wounds, critical hits, because critical hits, especially when you've got 2 shots, re-rolling everything, you give yourself critical hits and you roll for instance, a 6, which is what his critical hit is required for that particular stratagem, then you now get another dice to roll for a wound dice. Now, when you're already rolling, re-rolling your wound dice, and knowing that you are strength 8, damage 3, with Fusion. No, sorry, they're D6 plus 1. Shooting into some stuff, they are very good for basically anti-elite, because if you are re-rolling your hits and your wounds, all of them, and you are giving yourself the ability to barely miss, especially if you're shooting into like Terminators or something where you're wounding on if you overcharge on a 2, because it would be still a 3, but which is why you don't overcharge. But then again, you get another. Obviously, there's usually another special ability that comes with when you overcharge, and that just makes, force them onto their invols, and then from there you attempt to actually, take them out without having to worry too much, because you can get rid of them before they can really get to you, in terms of you have a nice big, especially me knowing that I have Dark Angels, and knowing that I can get my Deathwing Knights can get within 6 inches when they deep strike. You used to be able to get within 3, I'm pretty sure, from memory. That ability to push them back and probably take a fair chunk out of them from range, especially when you're re-rolling everything that you fire into them with their standard ability, you would be crazed not to attempt to use them in Overwatch, mainly for the fact that you get to reroll, and Overwatch doesn't stop that from happening. So you are, again, yes, if you haven't used that particular word for it will pop in stratagem, you are going to go, you know what, let's have sustained hits, meaning that every time I roll a 6 again, I get an extra shot. I have complete and utter rerolls on everything, so while I'm wounding on a 6, I can attempt to reroll 4 6s, but any 6 I do get automatically gives me another shot. So even if you can only roll 50% of your shots into 6s, you don't really lose out, because that 50% of 6s has produced the other 50% of 6s that you would have been looking for in order to, or anyway, with your sustained. So, Farsight and Fire Knives are extremely dangerous, and my very last commander that I build will definitely be a Fire Knife, in essence, commander with his Cyclic Iron Blaster and 2 Fusion Blasters for his 2 of his 3 weapon systems, and then on the 4th will be obviously giving himself +1 to hit with the battlesuit system skill that you can take, which again is a massive boost. But as I was saying, guys, I just quickly whacked into them. We've got some stuff obviously with the other ones we've got to do. I'm going to have to, I didn't realise I needed to dry brush 1, 2, 3 guns. I'm going to have to redo the dry brushing on mate's legs there. I lost a little bit with the glue, but we'll let those guys dry. And as you can see, we're 7 at the moment. There is 8 of 9 crisis suits on the table, almost completely finished. Some just looking for their last bits and pieces, like dry brushing here and some dry brushing there. And a little bit more of that wherever we got to. I lost it because it's hidden behind over here. Some more of the weathering to get that hooked up. And then, yeah, we'll have a fair chunk of crisis suits done, allowing us to, you know, get the next lot started. And I think in the next few videos, I will work on some Vespa stingwings. So I've got some uppy downy to take in my next list army, and that'll, you know, again, give us a boost. I also have some Pathfinders, stealth suits and Pathfinders that I'm going to have to build, and stealth suits are all done, sorry, via warrior teams. So I'm going to have to build and figure out what I'm doing with. But yeah, apart from that, I also have one, where did he go? One more crisis suit who is floating around and not actually glued to shit. I need to find him because he's on the loose. Crisis suit. And I have actually have my brain wants to work. There he is. I actually have some 50mm round bases to be able to glue him to, even though he's been somewhat destroyed. But he's a custom crisis suit that someone got a little bit overzealous with, making him look like a commander, which is here nor there. But as you can see, I'll be able to glue him on the base, and I'll have extra crisis suits. As I said, I've got another one over here with a fusion blaster. But yeah, just remember that he's around, so I'm going to have to sort that out. There's a base for him. I have to blue tack him to it so that he doesn't run away. And obviously there's a commander in the background there that needs to be blue tacked so I can prime him too. I need to get onto that. We have a... Oh, that's right. Unless I can actually get this guy to glue somehow onto a base without too much problem, we may... Here's another one. If I can figure out what I'm doing. Get him on there, hasn't got any e-lids, but we already have a fire knife crisis suit sorted out. Maybe I can... Oh, he's not gluing on that, is he? What's that one like? That one got a smaller point nut. Thinking about doing that to him, but you know, that's not going to work. We do have some of these. Maybe I can get that in the right spot. Do that to him. If he stays stuck to it, you know, get glue on to glue. Get him glued on there. But yeah, anyway, that is that. We will eventually panel line those young fellas, little fellas down there. We've got a fair bit of that stuff to do. And I have a little bit of sponge I'm going to, it's broken in half, which is a better attempt to do some possible battle damage with, which we'll figure out on our own times. But as for now, that is everything. As per normal, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace, guys.